The Selfish Path to Romance. Download Chapter 1 for free at drkenner.com.
Brian, you have a relationship you feel you messed up a bit?
Yes. It's kind of a winding road, but I'll try to be quick, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Okay.
About 4.5 years ago, my wife and I decided that the relationship, wasn't really working. It wasn't anything hostile, but we had really become more like roommates or friends than husband and wife.
Okay.
We realized that and decided to end it. However, I did not move out initially. We both realized that it was going to end in a divorce, but for financial reasons, I just wasn't able to go out and get my own place and pay my own bills. So
right.
I was staying with her. About 6 months after that, I met somebody and selfishly neglected to tell her that I was married. I was, married, had 3 children.
Yeah.
Didn't tell her.
Okay. How long had you been married, Brian?
Let's see, now it's been 10 years.
Okay.
10 years. But I'm like, okay, I've met this person, but this is just going to be a fling. I'm going to have fun.
Yeah.
No reason to tell her, because if I tell her, she's not gonna deal with me. Terrible,
right.
Obviously, just a terrible thing to do. Anyway, after about 3 months of finagling that charade, I realized that I was really growing to have feelings for this woman, this mistress, this girlfriend, and I was like, well, I have to be honest, because this isn't going to go I can't continue to lie and lead this double life. I'm going to have to just come clean.
Right.
So I did. I told her I'm married, I have 3 kids, da-da-da. Of course, she was terribly upset. She was angry. She said, this isn't going to work.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Well, I for a time there, I kind of told her, listen, just give me a chance. I'm going to get a divorce. Just give me a chance. And she did. She eventually came back to me. We started going out again. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
Then maybe a year into that, I was still living with my wife
and the kids. Were the kids grown by that time or no?
No,
they're still young, because
they're
10
small.
years.
They're 9, 7, and 3.
Okay, that's what age they are now?
That's what age they are now.
Okay. And your wife knew that you were dating?
She knew, she knew that I didn't. It wasn't anything where I put it in her face, but she realized that the relationship was over, and as long as I wasn't, as long as I was being a responsible dad and being a good dad and being there for my kids and taking care of those responsibilities, that was okay.
Okay, and was she dating too?
She is now in those initial...
So you're not having any problems with her. You're having problems with yourself and with the woman that you lied to.
Yes, where I originally lied to her.
Right.
Well, eventually, I did move out. I moved out of my home and moved in with the girlfriend.
Okay.
And everything was still going well. However, I wasn't pressing for the divorce. In other words, I wasn't going to get the papers. I wasn't trying to find an attorney, because I'm like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is going to happen.
Right.
I know it's over, but in the back of the girlfriend's mind, I think that was bothering her.
Yeah.
The second thing was...
Hey, I got to interrupt this because we've got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, that's it. A very quick ad, and then Alan will be back.
Romance. I wish I knew more about what girls want from a relationship. Boy, I wish I knew more about what I want. Where's that ad I saw? Here it is. The Selfish Path to Romance, a serious romance guidebook. Download Chapter 1 for free at selfishromance.com and buy it at amazon.com. The Selfish Path to Romance. That is interesting.
Yeah.
The second thing was, when I did move in, I said, listen, I'll chip in with rent. I'll help pay the bills. I don't just want to be here and not do anything. I want to contribute. Well, as I was living there, I wasn't the disposable income that I had. I would use on us doing things. In other words, us going out to dinner, us going to the movies.
So you couldn't contribute to the household.
Like I told her that I would. I wasn't being responsible. I said I would. I would just say, let's go do something, and that also ended up building resentment, because she would drop hints that money was tight. At one point, she said that she might have to move back with her mom, and I replied, a bad reply. I said, well, if that's what you have to do, I understand you can do it, instead of saying,
I'll pitch in.
I'll get a second job, or what can I do to help do this, being in the
So
relationship.
Where are you now? Just for the sake of time, where are you now? And what is the main question that you have?
Okay. The main question is, it came to a head 6 weeks ago. She confronted me about a bill or needing to do something, and I snapped at her, and we had an argument, and she threw me out.
Okay.
And I begged and pleaded for a couple of weeks after that, no response, and then for the past month, I just, I haven't wanted to annoy her, so I haven't done anything.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, is it hopeless? After the fact, something I should have been doing all along, I went to the courthouse, I got all of the papers, I'm filling out all the paperwork now to make the divorce, to do something I should have done a long time ago but was complacent about. So I'm trying to do that, but I'm heartbroken. I feel.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and I think that if you're able to take the wider angle view of this and to see that there is a pattern in what you're doing that's biting you in the butt all the time, and that's that you're not being good to yourself. You're when you try to fake reality always wins, Brian. Always. And so if you are living that during the period when you were living the double life, you're living a living hell, because you have to keep all the details from both life straight. I mean, you have 3 kids. You don't want to wake up in the middle of the night and mention one of your kids or be worried about it. You're putting your own mind at risk. It's so painful, and I don't need to tell you that because you've done it, you've been there firsthand. When you do something like that and you realize that you want to not put yourself in that situation again, you want to figure out what went wrong. What was the moment? What was your thinking around why? And when you're not going to be able to answer it on here because we don't have the time, but why did I choose to live the double life, to live the lie, and why did I continue it? And what would I do next time? You want to prime your self-conscious with better decisions for next time. And then when you said you chip in for the rent and didn't follow through on that, the number one person you're hurting, Brian, is yourself. And if to value yourself, you don't want, it looks good to bring her out to dinner, but it isn't good in the long run, or even in the longer run, if you know what I mean. So, and then if you snapped at her, are you still there, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
And if you snapped at her, that's another moment. I mean, you could go into therapy for this just so you could learn thinking skills. I would recommend cognitive therapy, because if I snapped at my kids or my husband, I have the benefit of having snapped in the past and learned a lot of good skills now. I would want to look at that. What was the trigger for me that made me snap? So you could look at that. In terms of the relationship, my suggestion is for you to really value yourself first, to have a good relationship with yourself, and whether or not she comes back is her choice. You'll be making yourself better, so you don't have to go groveling for her. And she's, the trust has already been broken there a few times, so you may need to let her go and move on, but really work on yourself. Listen, thank you so much for your call, Brian. I'm Dr. Ellen Kenner on the Rational Basis of Happiness.
For more Dr. Kenner podcast, go to drkenner.com and please listen to this ad.
Here's an excerpt from The Selfish Path to Romance, the Serious Romance Guidebook by Drs. Kenner and Locke.
A difficult problem for those who hold justified resentments is what and how to forgive. By forgive, we do not mean that you should forget the unjust act. You may never erase what happened from your memory, but you may be able to put the injustice into the fuller context of your total relationship history and what your partner did after hurting you. That is, how will your partner repair the damage? Forgiveness also means moving forward. Do not hold a past injustice against your partner as a chronic, grating irritant, provided you've sufficiently resolved the problem. But be aware that many hurtful partners use this moving on argument to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. For example, can't you just put my affairs in the past and move on?
You can download Chapter 1 for free by going to drkenner.com, and you can buy the book at amazon.com.